Dyson just built the most powerful cordless vacuum they've ever made. Bigger motor, bigger suction number than anything they've released before. And in real cleaning tests, it lost to their own cheaper vacuum. Today, I'm breaking down exactly where the new Dyson V16 Piston Animal earns its price tag, where it genuinely stumbles, and whether the newest Dyson in the lineup is actually the smartest one to buy. Welcome back to Sweep Gear, where we dig through the details so you don't have to guess whether a vacuum is actually worth your money. Here's the situation. You're shopping for a premium cordless vacuum, and Dyson's newest release has the highest suction rating the company has ever put on a spec sheet. Seems like an easy call. Newest model, biggest number, must be the best one. But a bigger number doesn't automatically mean a cleaner floor, and at nearly $1,000, that's an expensive assumption to get wrong. So let's talk about what Dyson actually changed here, and whether those changes hold up once the vacuum is running on a real carpet instead of a spec sheet. The V16 Piston Animal launched in the US on June 2nd, priced at $979, with a submarine version that adds hard floor mopping for $1,099. Under the hood is a new 900-watt motor Dyson calls Hyperdymium, rated at up to 315 air watts of suction. That's the highest number this brand has ever claimed on a cordless machine. But the more interesting change isn't the motor, it's the floor head. Instead of the straight brush roll on older Dyson models, this one uses two cone-shaped rollers sitting side by side. As they spin, the tapered shape is designed to walk long hair down toward the narrow end and eject it straight into the bin, instead of letting it wrap around the roller. There's also a new bin system Dyson calls the Clean Compactor, which physically compresses dust and debris so it holds significantly more before you need to empty it and wipes itself clean in the process. On paper, it sounds like Dyson solved two of the most annoying things about owning a cordless vacuum. And in a lot of ways, they actually did. Let's start with what works, because this part earns real credit. If you've got a shedding dog or cat or long hair in the house, hair wrap has probably driven you to sit on the floor with scissors, cutting tangled hair off a brush roller at some point. That's one of the most common frustrations with cordless vacuums in general. With this new conical design, extended everyday use showed zero hair wrapping, even with long human hair and a full weekend of dog shedding thrown at it. That's not a small win. That's the exact problem this vacuum was built to solve, and it delivers. The bin emptying experience is just as impressive. Instead of the usual awkward routine of holding a bin over the trash and hoping everything falls out, you pull a lever, the contents compress and eject, and the inside wipes itself clean. Almost no contact with the mess at all. If you've ever had hair stuck to your fingers after emptying a vacuum bin, this alone might be worth something to you. Battery life holds up well too. You're looking at up to 70 minutes of runtime on the lower power setting, which is competitive with anything else in this price range. And the battery pack is removable and swappable. If you've got a bigger home, you can keep a charged spare on hand instead of watching the vacuum die halfway up the stairs. Now here's where things get interesting, because this is the part that actually caught me off guard. When this vacuum was put head-to-head against Dyson's own older, cheaper models, using the same debris on the same floors, the brand new V16 came in last. Not close behind, last. It specifically struggled with larger debris on hard floors, things like cereal or small chunks of food, pushing them into little piles or scattering them instead of picking them up cleanly. In some cases, it even left a thin strip of fine dust behind right down the center of the floorhead's path. Why would the vacuum with the biggest suction number underperform two models that came before it? It comes back to that new cone-shaped floorhead. Because there are two separate rollers instead of one continuous brush, there's a small gap in the middle where suction weakens slightly, and that's exactly where the leftover debris tends to show up. That's not the only issue with the new floorhead either. This part matters if you care about how clean your baseboards and room edges end up, because the front of the head doesn't sit flat. It comes to a slight point instead of a straight edge, so you can't push it directly into a corner or along a wall the way you can with most vacuums. You have to angle in from the side, which sounds minor until you're trying to clean under a desk or along a tight wall you can only approach head on. For a vacuum at this price, that's a real design trade-off, not just a nitpick. There's one more detail that hadn't shown up on previous Dyson models. Pulling the vacuum backward turned out to be noticeably weaker than pushing it forward. It's not something most people think to test for, But it does change your cleaning technique a little once you know about it. If you're weighing whether to pick one of these up, I've left the product link in the description below so you can compare today's pricing alongside the other models we're about to talk about. So where does that leave you if you're actually trying to decide what to buy? This is where comparing it to the rest of Dyson's own lineup really matters, because the results are honestly a little embarrassing for their newest flagship. The Dyson V15 Detect, which regularly sells for hundreds less than the V16, matched or beat it in these cleaning comparisons despite having a noticeably lower suction rating on paper. The Gen 5 Detect, which sits in the middle of Dyson's lineup, also outperformed the V16 in the same testing, and it's frequently available at a steep discount from its original price. Both of these older models use Dyson's proven straight edge brush roll, the one without the gap in the middle issue the new cones introduced. If your budget is more flexible and you want something noticeably cheaper than any Dyson flagship, Shark's Power Detect cordless is worth a look too. It costs significantly less, and while it doesn't have the same premium feel, it includes some genuinely useful automation, including the ability to boost suction, specifically when it senses the floor head approaching an edge. That's a problem the Dyson hasn't solved yet. Let's talk price for a second, because $979 is a serious purchase, and it puts this near the very top of the cordless vacuum market. You're paying for legitimately advanced engineering here. The bin compression, the anti-tangle performance, the swappable battery, all of that is real and well built. But you're also paying a premium specifically for being the newest model, not necessarily for being the best cleaning one. If cleaning performance and value are your priority, a discounted V15 Detect or Gen 5 Detect gets you there for less money with fewer edge cleaning headaches. A few smaller things worth knowing before you buy. None of Dyson's older attachments are compatible with this model because they redesigned how tools connect to the wand. So if you're upgrading from an older Dyson and hoping to keep using your existing tools, that's not an option here. It also weighs a bit more than some competitors at 7.5 pounds, and a few users found the joint stiffer to maneuver than older Dyson models. And since this vacuum only launched in the US a few weeks ago, there simply isn't enough long-term ownership history yet to know how it holds up after a year or two of daily use. Dyson does back it with their standard 2-year warranty on cordless vacuums, which covers battery issues, so that's a reasonable safety net either way. So who should actually buy this one? If you specifically want the newest, most powerful Dyson available, if you hate emptying a vacuum bin often and want that month-long capacity, or if you're interested in the submarine version's built-in hard floor mopping, the V16 makes sense for you. Heavy pet hair households dealing with long fur may also get real value out of the anti-tangle design in its best-case scenario. But if you're mainly comparing cordless vacuums to get the best actual cleaning performance for your money, the answer points somewhere else. A discounted V15 Detect or Gen 5 Detect will very likely clean your floors just as well, if not better, for significantly less money, without the edge cleaning frustration. Either way, now you know exactly what you're getting into before you spend your money, which is really the whole point of doing this. If this helped you make sense of Dyson's lineup, give the video a like. It genuinely helps this channel keep making honest breakdowns like this one. Subscribe if you want more research-backed reviews before you buy your next vacuum. And I'd love to know, are you leaning toward the newest model, or does the older, cheaper option make more sense for your home? Let me know in the comments.